Perfect, we're good.
Thank you.
Oh, we have 2 minutes, you guys.
Oh,
It's not time to start. We've got 2 minutes to play here. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we're okay to start.
Tip,
yes.
before you start the meeting, I'm going to make an announcement to everyone, okay?
Sure.
Thank you.
Now?
Yeah, no, once it starts, you say start.
All right.
First item on the agenda, Tip.
First item.
You guys, I want to tell you right now, you're being recorded and this recording is going to be online. So I suggest that you all mute yourself and not speak amongst yourselves, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to turn off my sound.
It should be very brief because there's very little information they're referring.
Somebody's on there. Where's the audio?
Are we waiting for Don Sharp too? Is he on?
He's
Don,
on.
are you there?
No. So far, we've just got, oh, that's Bortella. Okay, now we've got an applicant because Borgatello's here.
Yes.
I've got to see a picture of him here anyway.
Yeah, I'm her husband. I'm Forey, who's on the Forey Borgatello Trust. Andrea's my wife.
Okay.
And here's Tom Kress, the architect.
So you guys can just mute yourselves until we're up to your item.
Good enough.
Oh, I see. Okay. I see how that works.
I'm ready whenever you are.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 second here. Is it time? 1 p.m. Yep. All right, I would like to open the May 14th, 2020 meeting of Montecito Board of Architectural Review. To order. First item on the agenda is public comment for items that's not on the agenda. Is there anyone who would like to address the board? Sharon?
No, I have no letters. Thank you, Tip.
And then, thank you. I'm to close public comment. And Sharon, you like to make an announcement now?
I would like to make an announcement, and this is to everybody who is listening and speaking. As of 3 or 4 minutes ago, this recording started, and I have no editing capabilities, and everything will be put online. So other people will be listening. So let's just please keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Okay, so we're moving on to item number 2, agenda's report. Any?
Yes, thank you, Tip. There is a change to the agenda today. Item number 3, 20 BAR 36, Luz Pura LLC edition at 1544 San Leandro Lane was continued to the June 11th meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, John.
Second by anyone?
Seconded. That's
All in
Bill.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we are moving on to minutes, and we are going to review the meeting of April 30th, 2020. Mr. Watson, any comments?
Mr. Chairman, I think there was a relatively minor thing, but I thought it was better. Item number 6, comment number 3. One member concerned about median barrier, and I'd like to change the wording from there to say design detail, period.
John, let me just pull the minutes up one sec, just so I can
Yeah.
get this.
It's right in front of us.
Well, I know, just so I'm editing them.
Oh, okay.
So items
6, number 3.
6.3,
One member concerned about median barrier design detail, period.
okay.
Oh, okay.
I understand. Okay, and that's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, John.
John, we can barely hear you today. Are you on a separate line for the audio?
Who are you talking to?
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that better?
Yes. Thank you, John. Anyone else?
No.
No,
Mr. Chairman, I'll move for approval of the April 30th minutes as amended.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, so now moving on to the MBOR members' informational briefings.
Mr. Chairman, Claire Gottstanker and I reviewed the consent calendar. Item C1, 950 Chellam Way, is here for both preliminary and final. Claire and I both felt that it should receive preliminary final from the board at this time, as submitted.
Okay, so perhaps this is for preliminary and final on
Mhm.
item
Yes.
C1, so we need to open for public comment. Anyone in the audience? Virtual online, seeing none?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve item C1, 950 Chellam Way as submitted.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstained.
Opposed?
I abstain.
And
Sam and Bill abstain.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, item C2, 875 Rockbridge Road, also is on for preliminary final. Claire Gottstanker and I reviewed it. Both of us believe that it should be approved as submitted.
Okay, I'm going to open public comment for item C2 875 Rock Bridge Road. Anyone in the virtual audio would like to address the board? Seeing none, close public comment.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move to approve item C2 875 Rockbridge Road as amended for preliminary and final.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carry. Okay, great. Now we're moving on to AMBAR members' informational briefings.
I have nothing.
Thank you, Claire.
Nothing for
I
me.
have nothing.
No, I have nothing.
Nothing for me, Tip.
Thank you. And I didn't do anything, so all good. Great. Now moving on to staff update, Alex.
For anyone interested in following it, the San Isidro Roundabout is coming back to the Montecito Planning Commission next week. That's a continuance from their April hearing. And so hopefully it will get wrapped up next Wednesday.
Thank you, Alex. That's it?
I can't think of anything else
Thank you. All right, so we are moving on to the standard agenda. And the first item on the agenda is 710 Pikachu Lane. Is the applicant online?
Yes.
Hi, can you introduce yourself for the record?
Name is Britton Jewett. I'm the architect.
Thank you. And this item is here for, I believe this is the first time.
Yes.
And it's here for conceptual, preliminary, approval of the new detached garage storage of approximately 797 square feet and covered porch of approximately 100 square feet. Can you please, if you can limit the presentation,
Yeah, this is a pretty straightforward project. It's a detached garage and covered porch. And the goal is to fit this within the existing site development as an extension of the context and aesthetics that exist. We're looking to just make it as least impacting to the infrastructure as possible to integrate and preserve the existing motor court paving and landscape elements. So we located it in a position where we can recycle all of those. The aesthetics are a straightforward match of the existing architectural style. Garage doors match the existing garages, and shape, design, colors, and materials are all consistent with the existing house. One aesthetic of the design is that we're using a setback averaging on the property line. This is probably the most passive use on the property, so it doesn't really impact the neighbors in any way. And I think it's just a simple addition that blends with the existing development patterns with minimal impact to the site and neighbors. It's a small scale and minimal scope of work.
Is there a planner memo associated with this project?
Kimberly McCarthy is the planner.
None that
Did
I
she
have.
Did she submit a memo?
I did not receive one.
Okay, then I'd be a little uncomfortable granting it preliminary then, just as a staff perspective, if we don't have a memo from Kimberly saying it's good to go.
Yeah, Alex, if I may say, I did receive the email that she requested that it come for preliminary, if that helps.
Okay.
thank you. Are you done with your presentation?
Yes.
Thank you, Brett. Questions, Sam?
Let me make sure I'm not muted. Hang on.
You're okay, Sam.
Okay, so I guess my only concern, Britt, and just in general, is the encroachment amount and what's going on the neighboring property. It's hard for me to tell in this Zoom format what's going on in the neighborhood in that general area. It seems like pretty substantial encroachment in the corner. Is there any impact to any of the neighbors directly adjacent to that encroachment area?
As we said, we're trying to minimize where it is that we're doing the development, and we feel that this is the most passive use on the site. It's a storage for extra vehicles and won't have a lot of use.
Okay, thanks. That's it.
Thank you, Sam. Claire?
Yeah, is this a flag lot? Is this an interior lot? It comes off of Picacho and then it goes down a long driveway. Is that correct?
That's correct, and the curb cut to Picacho serves more than one house.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean. I just want to confirm that for myself, because I did go to, but I didn't go all the way in. But then I came back and looked at the plan, because I knew that there was going to be questions about this encroachment, and so for me, that's it.
Yeah, so you can see where we're locating the garage.
Is this the right parcel, Britt?
No.
I didn't think so.
It's in the upper right corner, I think.
You have to go up on this page.
Yeah.
So your cursor, okay, so now we can see it's right in the middle now. Yeah, so Yes.
This right here?
No, to your
No.
right. Yes, now, right there. That's the existing garage. And then the motor court that's to the left of that existing garage is what we're keeping. And then the area behind it is where the new garage is going to go. So you can see that our neighbor has a pool cabana and pool, substantial landscaping there, and the raised beds that are shown in this are where the proposed development is taking place.
So
Thank you.
it backs up to the neighbor's garage, correct? It's garage to garage, looks like.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
So we're grouping similar uses in everyone's sort of corner of their properties.
Yeah.
I need to interject real quick. I just realized that I have actually worked on this property within the last year or so. So at this point, I'm going to recuse myself on this item. We have quorum, so I'm going to recuse.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, Sam. Okay, Don?
Yeah, I'm always concerned about building in required setbacks. Have you got a letter from the neighbor adjacent or any other evidence that they don't mind this?
No, we did not, because the setback averaging was something that, we worked within the policy.
I didn't receive any letters.
Okay, that's all.
Thank you. Dave?
I don't have any questions, Tip. Thanks.
John?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. And Britt, did you do an
That's after
FAR?
the lot, right? And then if you want camera, you have to hit that one, so not showing your face.
And somebody mute
We're not,
their-
I'm not okay.
Can you mute?
So then you can stop.
Can
Excuse me.
somebody,
Ms. Von Protz, please mute yourself.
Mr. Chairman, Britt, did you
Thank you.
have a chance to do an FAR study considering you're at 119?
The garage is a part of the detached accessory building numbers, and it doesn't affect the FAR.
Can you, Bill, can you scroll down?
Well,
On
it's
that,
on the
please.
screen right now.
Okay, stop. Scroll down to the bottom of the detached accessory structure. No. Okay. Okay, hang on. Thank you. Let me look at that, please. Yes, thank you very much.
Are you done with your questioning?
I am. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bill?
Uh-oh, where's Bill?
Bill,
Bill?
turn your mic.
Sorry, no questions. I was muted.
Yeah. There you are.
Okay, I think I got everyone. So let's open public comment for item number 1. Sharon, do we have any?
No, there's nothing. Thank you, Tip.
Right, so we are going to close public comment back to the board for this item will be here for conceptual and preliminary, and one of the issues had to do with encroaching into a side yard setback. So, John, you like to go first?
John doesn't look like he's on.
Okay, then I'm going
Can you
to.
hear me?
Yep.
Oh, there you are.
Can you,
Trying to find the map again.
can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you all. Mr. Chairman, this is a fairly large parcel, and I would not feel comfortable with voting for something that encroaches that much in the setback without a site visit. When I'm looking at Google Maps, know is not Google Earth. I don't see a so we see that or have more definition, more description of that for my vote. So I'm going to vote. If it comes to a vote today, I'm going to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Claire?
Well, I guess in questions, I was going to ask whether you actually, Brett, whether you actually looked at other placement or whether that was just what you decided, because the same as John is, is saying it's a big lot and there's other places rather than just pushing it up against the back of the neighbor's garage in the setback. And, that's a concern for me. I don't, it doesn't seem like I get it that that's where it belongs because there's this arch that you go through and that's where your parking is. And I don't know. I really have mixed feelings about this. That's all.
Okay. Don?
Well, I agree with both those comments that Claire has made. I'm a real stickler for setbacks in a normal situation, and this is an immense lot, and I find it very difficult to allow that amount of intrusion into the required yard, and I think it sets a precedent that would be difficult to defend in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave?
Yeah, I agree with John. Before I could approve this, I would want to have a site visit, but I'm more open to, in general, to setback averaging if it's done within the constraints of the zoning code. And in this case, it appears to me to potentially be a valid argument to do it here, since it's backing the two properties, one which already has a garage in that location, the other is the less usable part of their property. And also just looking at this site plan, I can see the logic of putting the garage there for this owner and the existing configuration of the motor court and everything. That all being said, given the fact that it's on the edge of the FAR and it's really important about the existing site conditions, I would want to see that before I gave my approval.
Thank you. Bill?
Yeah, I tend to agree with what I'm hearing too. It is a big lot. Certainly it looks like there'd be other places maybe that could work. I don't know if, some of these zones here, although there's, I'm sure, views out of these parts of the house that are nice. And what is it? Is it a garage for a collection? And, could it go down here somewhere maybe and out of the setback? It just seems like there's a lot of things kind of clustered up in this area. And again, without seeing the site and knowing the landscape and how it sort of interacts with the neighbor and what their feeling is, it looks like this area on the neighbor's property isn't being used. Certainly at this point, there is a garage here, so maybe it's not much a concern, but definitely would want to see it out on the site. I like the architecture. I think that's fine. It's just the placement of it, I think, that's in my mind a question that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Yes, I do feel the same. I think the parcel is quite large, 3.62 acre. And with the 3.62 acre, I really believe that you don't need to encroach into any setbacks. And because of that, I'm not sure. At this point, I don't think I can support the project. But as some of the comments we have, it seemed like we like to have a site visit. So
Yep.
with that in mind, we are probably will not take will not vote on this item today, and we'd like for you to come back and let us know when we can have a site visit, and then we can reconsider this item at the next meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move to continue this item to a future meeting after we've had a site visit and to return for preliminary and final. We're either going to vote for it or we're not. So I don't see any reason to have a two-step process here. So for a future meeting, that's my motion.
I
I'll
don't know.
second that
I don't-
motion.
Thanks.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Motion carry. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Sam abstain.
Yes.
Great. We are moving on to item number 2.
Mr. Chairman, Sam
Recused.
did not,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, Sam did not abstain. He recused himself. There is a
Oh, he's
difference.
recused.
Thank you, John. I was going to clarify that. Yes.
Oh, thank
Recusal.
you. Thank you for clarifying that. Item number 2, 985 Hot Springs Road. Is the applicant online?
Mr. Warwick?
Maybe need to unmute.
Let me see. Is he muted? He was on here. Hold on a minute. Oh, he's here. He's in the other one. Okay. Okay, hold on.
Click it.
Can you hear me?
there he is.
Yeah.
He's here.
Thank you, Mr. Warwick.
Are you?
Hello, can you introduce your name for the record?
My name is Mark Warwick. I also have my associate Bruno Bondinelli here as well. Would you see if he's available and he's also part of the meeting?
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. And this item is here for conceptual review of a new pool house
I
of
saw,
approximately 720 square feet and a new pool. So if you can do your presentation and you can limit to 5 minutes.
I saw him earlier. I don't see him now.
One moment.
I'll text.
Yeah. 1 second. Yeah. He was here. He was in. We were both standing by.
Warwick, I did see him earlier. I don't see him now.
Mr. Chairman, this is a fairly straightforward project. I think number one, we can either continue it towards the end of the meeting to wait for him to come back, or it is so
He's on.
simple.
He says he's on, waiting.
John, he's on.
Ah.
He should be on.
Well, Mr. Warwick's here, who's the agent,
The applicant.
the applicant. Why, I don't know why we can't just go ahead with it.
We can't. We
Can you
can't.
hear me? I was just unmuted.
Oh,
That's right.
there he is.
We can go on. It's just that I have a client Zoom meeting out of New York that I may have to come off. So let's proceed. If I have to go, Bruno will carry it forward.
Mr. Warwick,
Okay, please.
Bruno's here.
Bruno's here now.
Take it away.
Yeah, I'm here.
This is a rebuild from the destruction from the Thomas Fire of this area. You can see what the devastation was with these photographs that we're showing, and if you want to advance these, you can see what we're looking and planning to replace it with. It's in our property is 19.2 acres. So this is not visible by anybody from any public right of way. It's within the square footage requirements of an accessory structure, and it's redoing the pool, which was also destroyed.
Are you done with your presentation?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you have questions, and we're happy to answer them.
Thank
It's
you.
pretty straightforward.
Thank you. Cool. So let's go to questions. Let's start with Sam.
Okay, this looks, like you say, John, quite straightforward. I just wonder with this new construction and flat work and pool, expansion, are you removing any trees? Were trees damaged
No.
in the fire?
We had
No.
trees, there were trees that had been burned and have been removed, but we're not removing any other trees. What you're looking at are a number of trees that we have there that we're actually installing.
So that is part of a landscape proposed
Yes.
plan, not an existing conditions plan?
That is correct.
Okay, and that can be part of the presentation, the landscaping at a later date?
Yes.
That's a question.
Yes, you know, well, you're seeing what we're proposing here.
Okay, I get it. And you're proposing surrounding it with what types of trees, I guess?
Yes, a variety of pines, oaks, and some palms, and also succulent of varieties.
Oh, I see the pictures. Okay, no more questions. Thank you, Tip.
Thank you, Sam. Bill,
No questions.
John,
No questions, thank you.
Don,
No questions.
Dave,
No questions, Tip, thanks.
Claire,
Are there any photos of the main residence?
In this presentation, no, but we'll be coming to you.
Okay.
We'll be coming to you for some alterations to the main residence as well in a subsequent meeting.
Okay, so my question then is the pool house consistent with the architectural vernacular of the main house?
It's a little bit more modest, obviously. It is
Well-
rather consistent, and it's also reasonably consistent with the other projects that we have presented and have been approved so far.
Okay, thank you.
okay, good. So, and with that, I would like to open public comment for item number 2, 985 Hot Springs Road. Sharon, do we have any letters or anyone in the audience? I mean, virtual?
No, Tip, am I muted?
No, you're not.
Okay.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thanks.
Good. Back to the board for comments, and this item is here for conceptual review. John?
Mr. Chairman, this is an applicant that's brought through 2 other related projects that are detached accessory structures. We've given them preliminary, and I kicked them back to the applicant because they had insufficient finish details for me to be able to give it an approval. I thought Claire's comment was extremely interesting, and I would recommend that we approve this, but have it come back possibly to the full board with all 3, what would now be 3 accessory structures, so we can look at the detailing and the materials all together, and then at that time review it in relationship to the main residence.
John, this item
It's
is,
only for,
John, this item is only for conceptual review, so we can't take any motion.
I know, but I'm saying when it comes back, we can, I would recommend bringing it back for preliminary and final, and look at the other accessory structures at the same time to get them all done at final at one time. That's my comment.
Thank you. Sam?
Yeah, I think it's a modest, replacement, and certainly the pool is much more efficient and sustainable in that shape with the cover. And so in general and conceptual, I think it's fine, but I do want to understand the detailing of the paving and the architecture and its relationship to the main house, because it sits in close proximity. So agreeing with John that more detail is needed. I think the conceptual site plan, the conceptual overall architecture looks fine, but it needs to be further studied and presented to us in terms of its detail nature.
Are you talking about detail finishes, or are you talking about details that have to do with construction drawings?
more finishes and materials and colors and, your paving and all of the above. Looks like you have walls. Are they all consistent? The steel troweling, just, pull together your detail and your color board and all the right components.
Okay, so finished materials.
Correct.
Yeah, beyond what we already have.
Correct.
Okay.
That's it.
Are you done, Sam?
Yes, thanks. Sorry.
Thank you. Claire?
I have no further comment.
Thank you. Don?
My only concern was that it looks like it belongs on the same piece of property as the main house. And I'm convinced that that's the object here, so I have no further comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill?
Yeah, I think the building looks fine. Again, it'd be nice to get some photos of the original house. We're seeing it here in the Google Earth, not particularly good photo.
No.
Looks like it's
an understatement.
Looks like it's generally keeping with the style, so it'd be nice to see that. And it seems fairly innocuous, and I would agree with Sam, just sort of details and finishes and materials. And I think other than that, I'm happy with it so far.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Dave?
Yeah, I think it's a nicely designed project, and I agree with the comments thus far. I would suggest that you consider, since this was a fire rebuild, that you consider the trees, the placement and type of the trees that you're planting near the structure, and make sure that's good for you and your client and with the fire department. But overall, I think it looks like a nice project.
Thank you very much.
So it seemed like we'd like for you to come back for both preliminary and final to the full board with all the required drawings and all the accessory buildings. So when you're ready, please schedule with the planner to come back.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we are moving on to item number 4. 0 Mountain Drive. The applicant online?
She's here.
And I believe we have Danny Longwell, our architect, and Nigel Copley, the owner's representative.
Got it.
Tip, do you want to
thank
read
you.
you want to read the minutes, Tip?
Yes, this item was here.
Where's Danny?
Okay, was here previously, I believe it was on.
It was January 9th. Yeah.
Thank you for your help. January 9, and we had several comments. Number 1, site visit, which was today. And number 2, indoor and exterior lighting and reflection from glass railing need to be carefully studied. Number 3, light concept of adaptive reuse of existing water storage tank. Number 4, details will be critical. Number 5, need to resolve planning issues. And you are here today for further conceptual review. So if you can limit your presentation to 5 minutes. Please.
Okay, sure. I just wanted to let you know, just to remind you, when we were here on January 9th, overall it was a positive meeting, and you had said you wanted to do the site visit. So in order to get the site visit, we needed to submit a formal land use permit application and get a planner, which we did. Willow Brown is our planner. She wrote us a positive 30-day response letter saying that planning staff is fine with the project in terms of its height, as long as MBAR is fine with it. We also submitted our application for the rezone from PU to 1E1, which we needed to do as well. And we updated our plans to respond to your comments. And last time we were here, we had submitted, I think, 6 letters from neighbors, all in support of the project.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else?
Danny, did you want to go through
Yeah,
anything
this
on the
is,
plans?
yeah, I just wanted to remind everyone about the project. It's been, 5 months. So the concept is the adaptive reuse of an existing water tank. It's, the residence will be approximately 3,000 feet on the northern side of the top half. So it's a approximately 25-foot high tank at the highest point, and the residence would be on the top floor of that, with the deck being on the southern side of that. So the top third of the concrete would be cut back to become a deck, and that concrete would be then reused in gabion retaining walls to sort of terrace up and backfill to the ground level of the first floor. So we are, excited about this opportunity to use this adaptive reuse project. We think it's a kind of a sustainable method. The access is there, the building's there. It's been there for almost 100 years. The neighbors are all comfortable with it. And I think we've kind of demonstrated the criteria for height, even though there's one small portion. I think it's, if you go up to page 7 there, down one. Yeah, that one. So that's our, we're demonstrating, that the height criteria in Montecito. This is done based on the average 5-foot intervals around the tank. There are 2 points. The highest points of the site are actually the part that we're cutting back. So we're actually reducing, the overall height of the structure, which you can see on that section on this page. We are aware of the kind of fishbowl effect in glass, and we have a deep overhang, and the glass facade is pushed far back from the edge of the deck. So the lower portion of the structure actually blocks the visibility of that glass from areas below, because the project is high. It's higher than any house in the area, so there's nothing at eye level. So the perspective of the glazing that's south facing is actually, you can't see the glass from neighboring properties. We plan to use low level downlighting, some trellis downlighting in that area, but otherwise there won't be, there's very minimal exterior lighting proposed.
Okay, thank you. Are you done?
Yeah, that's. I think you've heard the rest before, so.
Yes, appreciate it. Get back to the board for questions. Let's start with Dave.
Yeah, I just want to clarify the glass railing, is it around the south perimeter of the circular?
No, it's actually in those are kind of our previous diagrams, but if you look at the new elevation, the actual elevation sheets further down in the set, we've switched that to a cable railing to take away that effect of, possible glare from the railing. That was a concern. So that shows the proposed cable railing.
Okay, so the glass is the fenestration, but not the railing.
That's correct.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Dave. Don?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to clarify the fact that the last time this was here, I mentioned for disclosure purposes, had this property once in escrow. It was another round reservoir owned by the Montecito Water District that I had under contract. I think the solution is superb. I've thought a lot about over the years how to make a round reservoir into a livable structure, and I think I have no further questions.
Thank you, Don. Sam?
Yeah, thank you. That plan that's on the screen now is what I had some questions about, because the exposure on the west side was the only concern. I appreciate this design and creative nature of cutting down the square footage of the top of the container on the outboard low side, but on the west, you look like you're building walls and planting more substantial olive trees, which you already have as a theme, and I didn't know that until I saw this plan. So my questions were about retaining walls and land space on the west, and it looks like you're using much of that to create buffer, screening, softening. So that kind of takes care of my questions by looking at this plan. That's all correct, right? That's all new proposed.
That is correct. Thank you. The green, yes.
Okay, that's it for me, Tip.
Thank you, Sam. Claire?
Yeah, my question is a land use question, but on the agenda, this is considered ridgeline urban, but in going through the drawings, I noticed that this is is this HMON or not? Alex, where, I mean, is this going to go to the planning commission, in other words?
Well, well, yes and no. The rezone application and general plan amendment to change from public utility to residential would go to the Montecito Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors if it were to be approved. If it's approved, it's zoned to, it would be a residential zone district, E1, which would only require a land use permit. So that would be a staff level approval.
Yeah, there was somewhere on the drawings that started talking about the hillside area, and I just.
Well, it is certainly hillside ridgeline, but I don't, the only projects that would go to Montecito Planning Commission would be if they're in the resource management, the RMG zone.
Yeah, and that's what the
development
note
plan is required.
The note on one of the drawings talks about resource management. And so that's
Yeah,
why
it's
I'm
not
wondering
proposed.
where it is.
It's not proposed to be zoned for resource management.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Surrounding zoning is residential.
Okay, fine. Thank you. That was my question. I just got a little confused when I saw that note on the drawing.
Thank you, Claire. Don? I mean, John.
Danny, have you been to the fire department yet?
Yes, we've met with Alex and Aaron out there, and they've walked the site there. They like the project. They think it's a good project. They've actually used that area as a staging area before. So we are, we've sent them the same plan that you've seen. The one feature that they've asked to improve is, the one feature that they've asked to be improved was the hammerhead turnaround at the top. So you'll notice on the site plan that we're proposing, kind of widening that area, because as those that were at the site today probably noticed, it's not quite compliant when you get to that area, just to the right there. They're not concerned with that last little stretch that's steeper. They don't need to get up there. It's less than their 150 feet. So they just want a better turnaround at that top area. So that's part of the proposed project.
Okay, and then going to that, are they going to require something like a 5,000 gallon tank for water fire prevention purposes?
I think there's adequate water service there right now, because the water line is up above, the main water line's up above there. So the pressure's good, and there's a current fire suppression system that came into effect during the Thomas fire and did a really good job of keeping the fire back. And it's kind of a standing system. There is a generator with a pump. So that sprinkler worked well. A sprinkler system worked well.
Mr. Chairman, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill?
Yeah, just a quick question. So this patio, is this a bridge across that behind area there? Or is that, I mean, it says on grade, is that from below or is that above?
That's at the finished floor. So if you go to the first floor plan, you can see that it's front page.
Is it, so you're backfilling against the tank here?
Yeah, that's included in our numbers for grading of a net amount of fill of 300 and some odd cubic yards of fill.
Okay. So you're
essentially
filling
little-
back, and then it's going to taper down where these gabions are.
Exactly, that's right.
That gives you the tiered back down to the grade that you are here. So this gets backfilled. I got
Yes.
it. Okay. So, okay. That's all I had.
Thank you, Bill. So would you open public comment for item number 4, 0 East Mountain Drive? Sharon, do I have any, anything?
I don't believe so. Bill, is there anything in there that's?
No letters, just project description in the plans.
Thank you.
Okay, back to the board, and this item is here for further conceptual. So let's start with comments. And Sam, you want to go first?
Sure, Tip, thanks. I like this adaptive reuse. I think by cutting away the forward downhill edge and pulling it back and making that single story step, it kind of meets the hillside design guidelines and to kind of hunker again to the slope. The planting substantial in the front. I kind of tried to get a aspect of how it was viewed from the city, and my concern was on that kind of southwest corner, and I see that you've taken that into account with some of your walls and some of your terracing and some of the new planting. I guess one quick question, maybe you can elaborate through the rest of the presentation, is the color of the actual main body of the building. What is that going to be? It'd be nice if it's earth tone.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I like this project and I think would like to move it along.
Are you able to talk? No, I hope not.
Can you show me the color?
Yeah, if I can speak, this is Danny. It's the intent is to keep that kind of patina that's there. That's the goal, and we like the look, and we think it's got a nice aged look that would be really hard to replicate, and it's also a familiar site to neighbors, so I think that minimizes the impact of the change.
So no bright whites proposed. Good.
No.
Thank God.
So there you go. They're gonna probably think you're mean.
Right, that's it. Someone else is talking.
What the fuck is going on?
Can everybody stop speaking, mute your microphones, please?
Thank you, Sam. Claire?
No, I actually love this project. So it looks all
Hey,
good to
Sharon,
me.
anyone? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Steve Fort?
Have they come to public comment yet?
Yes.
Yes, we passed already. Now we're back to the board for comments.
I was trying to get in and something was wrong with my phone and I had my hand raised, but it wasn't acknowledged.
Well, I saw your hand and I put it down because I unmuted you. Please go. Steve Fort wants to comment on this project.
Okay, when you go back one step.
I apologize. I apologize for the confusion, and I might be showing up on the screen as Laurel Perez because I went and grabbed Laurel's iPad because I was having a problem.
Oh, okay. I see that. All right.
You are showing up as Laurel.
Okay. Sorry about that. I'm Steve Fort. Should I go ahead?
Yes.
Please.
I'm Steve Fort with Suzanne Ellis Planning and Permitting, and I represent the neighbor, Mike Tweddle, directly to the west. And just wanted to express that in general, they don't have a major problem with the project. Their concern is if they're going to eventually be allowed to exceed the height guidelines and the grading guidelines, and any exceptions are made for that based on the HMON requirements. They just would like to see the western side of the project pretty heavily screened to mitigate their views of the project. And we do see that there's some olive trees proposed on the landscape plan. We just want to make sure those olive trees will grow up and provide the screening necessary. There's a couple existing olives there right now that don't quite screen. They kind of fall short of the top of the tank. And we just wanted to comment that they'd appreciate as much screening as possible on that west side to screen the view of the project. Thanks.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, back to close public comment, back to the board for
This is a great photo
for the comment.
right now, by the way.
Let's see now, we will with Claire.
I think.
No, like I said, I think this is really a great project, and now we can see it on Google Earth. Given Steve's Ford and the neighbor, which I'm assuming is the one to the west of what we're seeing here, is that I would like the applicant to really, olives, I don't think, up here in the hillside, I think olives are great, but I think that probably given the requests of the neighbor to the west that we can see on the screen right now, that we really might want to develop the landscape plan so that it has some taller, because those olives are going to be along that driveway, and probably, over time, they'll screen it, but I do think that maybe some bigger, taller trees might be needed in that southwest corner or whatever, that westerly corner.
Did you have a species in mind?
No, I'll leave that up to them.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Claire. John?
Yeah, generally, before I get started, I do have one question. There's a new retaining wall. What's the maximum height of that retaining wall, please?
Get the one along the driveway, John? Is that what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there,
Yeah.
can you hear me? I think I'm unmuted now. It's approximately 5 feet at the high point there.
Plus the height, plus the guardrail height, right?
Right. Well, yeah. There's a planter there, so it's
okay.
Yeah, it won't be a full guardrail height.
Okay, so I also am generally positive about this. When I drove over, I came over up Ashley and then turned east towards this project, and was actually surprised that I could see it as far away as I could. I think that this strip of windows is going to be a lantern effect up there, where in a traditional house you've got a decent amount of wall, then a small amount of window. This is all window, left to right, east to west. So I don't know that there's anything we can do about it, but I want everybody to be cognizant of the fact that we are permitting a window wall that will be visible for quite a distance down there. When I stood up on top, I walked up in the back and looked out, you can see a significant portion of the Montecito Valley floor. If you can see down, they can see up. So I don't know what we want to do about that, but I think there have been projects, notably down on Channel Drive, where there were significant numbers of lantern effect comments. And I don't think that they are any less applicable up here as they are down there. Having said that, adaptive reuse, I think it's clever. I think it's good. I'm generally supportive of it, but I'm not sure we've solved that lantern effect. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, John. Don?
Yes, as I stated, I feel this is a great solution for the tank, and I am concerned about the westerly landscaping and any reflections that may come off of that glass. But in general, it's very acceptable to me.
Thank you. Dave?
Yeah, first of all, I appreciate the adaptive reuse of the structure and keeping the history and maintaining it and coming up with a creative way to reuse it. So I think that's really great. I was concerned about the glass rail until I learned that it was removed. And I think because the building is set back and the glazing set back and there's an overhang, I think I'm okay with that. And I would just encourage the applicant to work with the neighbor to strategically place those trees so that it resolves the concerns they have about the view of the project. But overall, I can support the project.
Thank you. Bill?
Yeah, I generally agree. I think with what I'm hearing, I think I agree with Dave. The overhang is good, certainly for daylight and reflection on the glass. So that's good. I like the cable rail. I like the fact that you're taking the broken concrete and using that on site. You know, sure, certainly less truck trips up there is going to be better. That's quite an impact on that neighborhood, certainly with any work that's going to happen up there. Definitely, you know, look at some good screening on this west side to block you from the view of the neighbor and vice versa. I think that's important. And just be cognizant, as John's saying, about the type of lighting you use. Interior, low light as best you can, and try to keep it shielded and try not to bleed into the night sky as best you can as well. So, but otherwise I like it. I like the organic look of the color, which is cool. I would be curious to see the detailing of that roof and what's that fascia. I mean, it's going to be a curved element. Is it metal? Is it shiny? Is it, you know, muted back? So I think once you get into the details of some of those finishes in the roof, you know, is the roof going to be set below that curve? Obviously it can't where it's being cut out. So, you know, how's that roof and the fascia and the gutters and drainage and all that going to work? So sometimes the devil in the details there. So just be careful how you detail that up. But otherwise, I like what you're doing, and you got my support so far. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. Can this item come back for both preliminary and final on to the full board?
I don't see why not.
So just to let you know, from a planning perspective, there's a lot that has to happen before they'll be ready to do that.
Yeah.
They first have to go through the rezone and general plan amendment. Requires going to the planning commission and the board of supervisors. So you can say that, and that can be the direction once we get through that process, but that process will need to be completed before they are in a position to move forward with the
Mr. Chair.
project. Yes.
Mr. Chair, I think we should bring it back at preliminary because we don't know what changes are going to have happen in this whole long process for the rezone. So why don't we just have them come back at preliminary, you know, if we can, you know, put it on for final on consent. But I think that there are going to be changes. I think, you know, when this goes to the planning commission, given I know some of the planning commissioners quite well, I think there may be some changes that happen before it comes back to us. So that would be
Thank you. So we'll hopefully we'll see this back when you go through the planning process and come back for preliminary approval, and perhaps you can put final on consent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to step down on item number 5. So Bill, you in charge?
All
Time
right.
to get off.
Got it.
Thank you.
Okay, item
The
number
Edgecliff project?
5. See if I can multitask here. Okay, item 5, 1491 Edgecliff Lane. We have minutes here. It was last heard 10/17/2019. Comments are nice architecture, need FAR neighborhood compatibility study, resolve any planning issues before returning, no story poles required, nice reduction in mass relative to existing residents. Okay, do we have the applicant available?
Yep, I'm right
Present.
here. Kelly Type with Warren Group Architects.
Okay, great. So go through and tell us what you got. Did you do your FAR study? Let's see, you did. There it is. Let me zoom into that.
Wait a second, go back. You went by so fast, I couldn't see it. Okay,
There we go.
okay.
Okay, do you want to explain that real quick? Looks like these are your numbers here.
Yeah, so it's we did the FAR study along all the properties on Edgecliff, and the average 161% for all the properties on Edgecliff.
And you're what, 155?
55.
Oh, that's what I'm trying to say. You're at 155, is that what you're saying, Kelly?
Correct.
Yeah, oh, there it is. Now I can see it. Okay.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Bill, where is that FAR study? I don't see it in my drawings.
It was submitted later yesterday, so you didn't get it. Here it is.
Okay,
Sharon,
very good.
forward.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Yes, thank you.
so go ahead. You want to continue on?
Okay, so there's the images of the existing residents on the site right now. It's currently is existing two-story single-family home and a accessory building. And so since the last time we were in, we reduced the scope of the project to just the main residence. Previously, we had a pool and we had work on the ocean wall and the ocean building on the wall. So now we've narrowed down the scope to just the main residence. So there's our site plan, and the red outline is the outline of the existing house, the massing of it, the roof. And so what's changed since then is that we've reconfigured the massing of the living room area to give it more space, more frontage along the ocean, which you can see right there. So we rotated that element to face the ocean, and then we took away square footage from over the garage. And so there's the elevations. They haven't changed much other than where the massing had changed on the south elevation. So we have right there, the dormers facing the ocean, and then the windows facing the ocean from the living room. And everything else is essentially the same. We have that front wall. So that's the top two images are what you see from Edgecliff. So that's facing north. And that wall we want to redo and make it be a 5-foot high wall. And then that round element will be 6 feet high. And it'll be painted brick. And then the materials of the house it'll be painted wood siding and metal windows and doors and wood railing and a slate roof. And we intend to keep all the large palm trees on site and all the banana trees that are along the front of on the north elevation, we intend to keep those in place as well.
Yeah, big beauties.
Okay, is that,
Yeah.
done? You're done with your presentation?
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't have any landscape, I don't see.
Not yet, no. It's the only landscape that we would be changing is along the front where we're redoing the wall on Edgecliff, and then a little bit around the main house.
Got it. Okay. All right. I'm going to open up public comment. Is there anybody from the public that wants to speak? I do have a letter here.
Keep the letter up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also, is this Mr. Miller's?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Miller, would you prefer to speak?
Well, I could just explain. I did submit this letter. We are the owners of 1483 Bonnie Mead, which is on not the other side of course, it can't be on the ocean side, on the other side of this property. And we do have an ocean view from our second floor, looking over the property. And there was we've only owned the property since last spring, but there was in the title documents, there's a agreement between neighbors from 2008 that was between the prior owner of our property and the prior owner of the Edgecliff property, in which they agreed to maintain or limit the height of landscaping within this designated area that was designated by the on the plan approved by this board back in 2008 for the construction of the residents and other buildings that are currently on the property. And so our concern is what this new construction, how it will affect that designated area and just overall the ocean views we have from the second floor of our property. And that's what's kind of outlined in the letter that I submitted. I have not been able to review the plans. We did not, I just received this notice last week, and I had indicated to your secretary that, or I indicate in the letter also that we hadn't received the prior notice back in October notifying the original scheduled hearing. And she indicated that a lot of those notices were returned as undeliverable. So again, I haven't had a chance to review the plans, and I'm just raising these issues now to see how that would fit into the process at this point, this issue.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And that was all we had, Sharon? No other comments? Okay. All right. To the board for questions. Claire, do you have any questions?
Yes, Kelly, is there any change in the height of the total height, the height of the building, and or any proposed landscaping that might be introduced that would impact Mr. Miller?
The height of the roof is about a foot taller on the west ridge, and then it's about 4 inches lower on the east, the east ridge. If you go to the elevations, I could
The existing.
Okay, so yeah, right there, if you look at the north elevation, the top left, the massing that, the massing that is to the left, the two-story portion, that ridge is about a foot higher. And then the massing above the garage and the living room is about 4 inches lower than what's existing. And then we've opened up the area. You could see if you go to the renderings, the next page. We've sort of opened up the massing in the middle,
Got it.
where the entry is. So we've removed a large portion of massing above that entry, which is sort of this atrium concept of a glass, has like a glass dome and windows around it. But that's a low element.
Okay, thank you.
And then in regards to the landscaping in that view corridor area, the agreement between the neighbors limits the landscaping to 11 feet in height, and we do not intend to exceed that.
Okay. Sam, any questions?
So you explained the roof height, which I had questions about how it compared to the existing. So the east side's a little taller and the west side's a little lower, which shouldn't be too much impact. And then the tree, I guess, that you're showing in the front planter, that looks like it could be a large tree, and you could study something smaller just based on some of the public input, I imagine, in that front planter. So no questions beyond that. We'll wait for comments.
Okay. Don, any questions?
Yes. What is your exterior siding going to be?
It'll be a painted wood siding, like a shiplap style.
And what about the columns?
Those will also be a painted wood.
How wide, do you know yet?
The columns are 12 inches.
And just mitered corners, or how are you going to handle that?
Yeah, with mitered corners.
And the beam also?
Yes.
Okay, no further questions?
John, any questions?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And Dave, any questions?
Yeah, I just want to re-clarify what you're proposing is relatively within where the existing residence is now, with the same mass, bulk, and scale, with the exception you're lowering it at the entry. Is that correct?
Correct.
And then
it's the same. And then, yeah, the mass to the west of the entry, that massing is slightly lower than what's existing as well.
okay. And then I think maybe Sam touched on this, but the tree that's in that middle portion, are those controlled by the view easement then? Or is that not?
That's outside of the view easement,
Yeah,
but we don't need a large tree there by any means. We just wanted something sort of sculptural or something interesting in that round planter at the entry.
Great, that clarifies it for me. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Dave. One question I have, is this the view corridor?
Yeah, that's the view corridor.
That's it there. And then these are the trees that you said have a limit in the height of 12 feet.
Yeah, and we were thinking maybe some small, like citrus trees or something would go in that location.
Got it. Okay. Again, to reiterate Dave's, sounds like the massing is similar, a little foot higher, a little less at the center. At this point, the guest house is going to stay as it is, no change there.
Correct.
Okay, that's all I have. All right. Let's go to comments. Claire, do you want to start us?
Really?
Or anybody?
No, it's fine. My comments are very short here because I just think this is such a lovely building that I just think it's going to be really a lovely, lovely addition to the ocean front visit. I mean, it's going to look so great. It's just going to look great. That's it. I just like it.
All right, Don, any comments?
Yeah, my only concern is, as I mentioned before, the fact that it's all wood, and as we know, wood moves around, and the detailing of the siding, the columns, the beams is critical to the success of the project. And I will be looking at that later on, but I think it's a very appropriate project for the area. Thank you.
All right, Sam, comments?
Yeah, I too like this style and the feel of the architecture. It's organized and clean. I think the amount of fenestration and openings and shadow and shade play off nicely to break up the massing of the two-story portion. I think it'll be a nice addition to the waterfront, and I would just temper the landscape decisions to make sure that they're, in keeping with the proportions of the building and not exceeding the height for just relative scale of the project. But I like this project. Thanks.
All right, thanks. John?
I have nothing further. I like the building also. And to go to Don's comment, whether or not they were right or wrong, the Miramar used hardy plank as opposed to real wood, which I think is more dimensionally stable. And you may want to look at that or some other product besides real wood, because it will warp and twist and do everything else on you at the beach where the humidity is and the sun are just changing all day long. But generally speaking, I like the project and I wish it good luck.
All right, thanks, John. Dave?
Yeah, I too like the architecture, and I especially appreciate the massing and the way you've respected and preserved and potentially even enhanced the neighbors' views. So given what I can see, I can support the project.
All right. I agree also with what I've heard other board members too. I like the style. I think, as you say, Don, too, that the details are going to be critical. I probably envision these are going to be trimmed with 1x materials or something, and not probably horizontals. And the mitered corners, certainly will be a challenge on any material in that environment. But I like the look and what they're trying to achieve, so hopefully they can achieve that. And I like what I see too. So what can we give this? It's not here. What's it here for?
Further conceptual, so we're ready for some kind of.
This will need to go to the Montecito Planning Commission for approval of the CDH before it comes back to you all for preliminary.
Okay, so we just continue it with positive comments, or our comments generally.
Right, give it direction on what you want it to come back as. Preliminary final.
Yeah, preliminary.
Preliminary, yeah. Okay, we'll give it a preliminary approval.
No, in the future, that's what it comes back as.
Or, I mean, to come back as preliminary approval, for preliminary approval.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Alex, please don't have a fit here. Could we bring this back as a preliminary plus and have them take a look, provide some initial details on some of these issues that we've all identified on the wood, just so that we can see where they're headed with that at the preliminary level?
Well, why can't they come back for preliminary and show us all the details at that point? Isn't that what we need to do?
I'm just thinking a couple of the details to show how oceanfront is its own world, as we all know. And anyway, that's a comment. It's a question, actually. So I'm done with my question.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think we could have them come back as you're thinking like a phase two, a two-phase preliminary where they bring maybe the details and we comment, but certainly they can do what they want. If they want to take it even further, I suppose it's up to them. But if we can see the details, that would be great. So we'll continue this and have them come back for preliminary review.
I think that's a very good idea. The success or failure of this strictly depends on the detailing.
I agree. Okay, great. All right. On to the next item.
Thank you.
Tip, are you there?
He's back.
6, is he on?
I see him. Or I hear.
Hello.
Tip, ready? Item 6 is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Item 670 Hodges Lane. Is the applicant online?
Hello, yes, Brian Banks here.
Hi, Brian.
Hi. Hi, Amy Von Potts here.
Thank you. And this item is the revised conceptual review of an addition and remodel of the existing two-story residence consisting of first floor conversion of existing 95 square foot attached garage to habitable space and new additions totaling 1,185 square feet of new first floor habitable space and demo reconstruction of the second floor total 1,212 square feet. And this item was here on 3/28/19, and we have several comments here. Number one, single story pool of second story required, which I don't think we did today. Look for a way to lower height proportions seem tall. Number 3, bring inspirational photos. And number 4, stack and chalk the pool pavilion and pyramid of residents for site visit. So Sharon, is there a reason why we don't have a site visit today?
It was, they changed it and we noticed it.
Or the project has been changed?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I can give you a summary of where we're at if you'd like.
Thank you, please.
Sure. Thanks again, all the AMBAR members and Sharon and Alex for continuing to hold these hearings. We think it's great that you're able to keep moving projects along. It's really appreciated. So yes, you saw a different project in March of last year. Don will remember this is the old reservoir, the property that had the old reservoir up at the north portion of it. At that time, we had a much bigger design on the order of about 7,800 square feet. It was a demo new project, basically scraping the site and building a new residence and pool and accessory structure. In that time, the owners kind of re-looked at the program, looked at what they had in terms of the bones of the existing house, looked at budget, and importantly, looked at the construction timeline. They've got young kids and wanted to, get their house done before they're in high school. And so what we're coming back with is a dramatically reduced project, essentially a different project, is essentially working with the house that is there, converting the majority of the new square footage that we'd be adding is converting the existing attached garage. There's also a small addition you'll see there at the southeast corner that bumps out which is existing garage, which will become habitable space of a couple of hundred square feet. And then the other main architectural element is there's kind of it's like a story and a half. It's really like a loft upstairs. And then the proposal you'll see is to, pop the top, raise it up about 4 feet to create a true second store to get some new bedrooms up there. So overall, the project is about 5,800 square feet now. And that includes about 1,200 of that is garage space. So the footprint really isn't changing by more than a couple of hundred square feet. And the only thing I'll add is that we did meet with the Montecito Fire District. Things went very well. We are going to propose a gate, but we're still working with them on the exact location, and we'll come back with the details of the gate once we get it figured out. And with that, I'll hand it over to Amy to take you through the plans.
Hello. So first of all, I want to start out with thank you for having us today. And I want to start out with a 1.0. The net floor area ratio of this project will be 66%. So we really believe that this is a really good FAR. Going down to the first page, a 1. Oops, let's see, I'm sorry, a 1.1, we're showing, if you look in the left corner, there's a 3-car garage. And again, with their, as Brian said, they're going to convert that to, this is 1.1, the next page. They're going to convert that to habitable space. And then off the end, they want to add about 9 more feet of, so they can make 2 bedrooms. And I'll show you that in the proposed plan. And then if you're going to, then they're also planning to remove the existing covered porch at the front of the house and do a smaller entry, keeping with like a federal kind of look. And they want to do a portage share from the existing house to where the proposed carport is going to be. So you can see that if you go south, there's a 2-car garage carport, and they would like to do a portage share from the house right by the family room going across. And then you see at the front of the house, they like to extend the entry and again do a covered entry, and I'll show you that in the exterior elevations. Pretty much the rest of the house is staying the same. And then, as Brian said too, right now the upstairs is kind of an attic with it's still, you can stand in the center, and it's got a little powder room and some dormers. And so what they would like to do is, and there's stairs going up there, we'd like to relocate those and add 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a laundry room upstairs and a playroom for the kids. And that will be, the front will be in line with the lower portion of the building, and there'll be a deck off of the back. So the next page is a 3.0. You can see from here, again, we're going for more of a federal style look where you see before at the top, you'll see that there was just 3 dormers and a roof, but now we will just go straight up and have a 2 gable ends. On the left, you see the carport, a 2-car carport, and then going down farther, you'll see that what was garage space will be infilling the garage doors and adding bedrooms in the back. And
that's where the addition would come out to the south, the couple of hundred square, yeah, right there.
Right. So if you see the proposed elevation on the left, you'll see there's a line showing how far the addition will come out. And then going down south, moving down a little bit, that will be facing the open yard area. Again, there'll be a gable end over the playroom facing out, and you can see the increase in the height of the existing what the height is now and what the proposed height of the existing building is. And where you just had your cursor, that again would be the addition going south, and you see the carport.
Amy, can you remind us about the overall height change? It's approximately 4 feet, as I recall.
I believe so. Let me just can you run that? The current building is roughly 24 feet, and our proposed is 28. So again, approximately 4 feet. Again, a lot of interior work, but our biggest right now, we're dialing in window styles, and we think it's a really good project. And the roof will be, I believe we're going to do asphalt, some kind of asphalt shingle, and then right now the existing house is horizontal siding, and we plan to keep that in the same style that is there now. Brian, do you have anything you want to add?
Just for Claire and Sam, at this point, we don't have any landscape proposed, keeping essentially what is there. As I say, we will be working with the fire district on the exact placement of the gate, and we'll return with that. They'll require a little turnaround wherever we put the gate along the driveway, so we'll incorporate that in our subsequent plan, and you might have some feedback on what we plan to do with that kind of area of disturbance, but it should be pretty small.
And then I guess one other thing is that you see on the site plan, it shows where the flood line is, and we are out of the flood designation. So I think that that's really important to our project.
Thank you. Are you done with your presentation?
We are. Thank you.
Go back to the board for questions. John,
I have no questions, Mr. Chairman.
thank you. Don,
I have no questions. Thank you.
Claire,
No questions.
Bill,
No questions.
Dave,
I'm good, Tim, thanks.
Sam.
Yeah, just one quick question, Brian. You've talked about the fire department and gates and that a couple of times. I guess I want some clarification. You're not planning on changing the driveway or changing the site. It's just some kind of access gates along that existing driveway. That loop is all part of what would be approvable by current fire guidelines and stuff?
Yeah, Sam, thanks. Yeah, the access condition right now is really, really good, but they do want to see, because it dead ends on, this is kind of our driveway, but it's really the dead end of Hodges. So they want to see a turnaround wherever it is that we position the gate. And they like to see a turnout every 200 feet. And so this would be like 450. So we're working with them to maybe, put the gate in a location that will serve as the turnout and the hammerhead as one. So it should be kind of mid property is where we're contemplating it. We should have that worked out pretty quickly.
All right, no other questions.
Thank you, Sam. So with that, I'm to open public comment for item number 6, 670 Hodges Lane. Sharon, do we have anything?
We do not. Thank you, Chip.
Good. Close public comment and back to the board and visit for further conceptual review. John, you'd like to start?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Clearly, it's a modest project in comparison to what it was, so I think it's going to be significantly easier to give it an approval. My only comment is that I think that I'm confused by the architectural direction that you are headed. And I would request that when you come back, you provide inspirational photographs of how you plan on detailing things out, so that we understand exactly where you're going. And that's really it. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, John. Claire?
It all looks really good. I just had a comment about in the presentation, there was a statement that was made that there would be no change to the landscaping, and but that doesn't appear. I mean, if you're not going to make any changes, then at least record what's existing. So we, when you come back, can understand that. I think that is an inaccurate statement, though, because you are going to have to reconfigure the driveway. That is probably that's going to make some grading changes. So there will be landscaping. So when you come back, will you come back with at least a minimal landscape plan that shows us where the existing trees are, what the impact, and what's going to happen with this driveway, because right now it looks like there's a big hedge along that driveway. I can't really tell what that is. Oh, it's an oleander hedge. Okay. So have that on some kind of plan rather than on this survey plan. Okay. When you come back.
Got it. We'll do, Claire.
Thank you, Claire. Dave?
Yeah, I like the project. I like the look of it and the fact that the FAR is very low and the way it's located on this large property. Seems to me it has very minimal, if any, impact on anybody. And so from what I can see, I can support it.
Thank you, Dave. Don?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good project. But as with the last project we saw, I think the detailing of the wood siding, corners and window trim and so forth should be well thought out and on the drawings.
Thank you, Don. Bill?
Yeah, generally I like what you're doing. I think it looks good. I may question your selection on the windows. You've got sort of a 3-light. Is that a casement? Would this be typically a double hung kind of a house? So, maybe come back with the thought about what you're going to do there. I'm not certain that the style is conducive with that federal type architecture, but, prove me wrong. Maybe it is. Otherwise, I think it looks pretty good. It's pretty innocuous and looks good to me.
Thank you, Bill. It seemed definitely a more modest project, and I believe we don't need to do a site visit or story polls, even though the building is several feet higher. And with that, I believe this item can come back with preliminary/final to the full board.
No site visit.
So work with your planner and complete everything, and you have all the drawings, and you can reschedule to come back.
Excuse me,
Thank you,
Tim.
Brian.
No site visit?
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, I think that we should make, Alex should make a note at the top of our comments. This is essentially a brand new project, so that people realize our previous comments are not applicable to this project anymore.
Good point. Thank you, John.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
So now we are on to item number 7, 425 Camford Place.
Yeah, that's us. We're here.
The applicant online.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
And can you introduce yourself to the record, for the record?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Can you introduce yourself for the record?
Oh, yes, I'm Tom Kress, designer, agent.
Thank you. And this project is here for preliminary/final
Yes, and
for an addition of existing single-family dwelling of approximately 1,098 square feet and a conversion of an as-built unpermitted guest house into 255 square foot storage space. So the question, so if you can go ahead with your presentation, I assume you have all the drawings for final approval.
There were some comments, Tip, if you want to read those.
Oh, yes, for some comments, I'm sorry. Number 1 is modest, acceptable project. Number 2, update FAR's worksheet. Number 3, sturdy window size on the one larger window. And number 4, consider bringing roofing down at the entry. Those are all yours.
could you repeat that? That's right here on his comments. Okay. Oh, here, we got it now. Could you put that back up, the comments, please?
All right.
There. So the updated FARs, we worked with the previous planner, Cara Koenig, and so that's on the cover sheet where it's required in the lower right corner. First of all, though, we would like to say thank you guys for doing this. It's very helpful. We have received approvals from Planning Department and Water District, Sanitary District. And the Water District, just for comment, was very complimentary about the low water history use. And so in referring to the concept
18%.
review checklist, the only 2 comments that we had were resolve the FARs and then supply a materials board. I don't know if you have the color photos in front of you. No. There's a whole package of color photos if you have those. If you could go to,
No, we don't have those, Tom. We just,
okay.
in this environment, we get to see the plans. That's what we get
Oh.
to see.
Okay, so you do have the materials board in front of you. And as you can see, all along the street side, the curbs are made of local stone that's from the site. On that, the upper photo, you can see that the stones are probably sandstone. We don't have a soils report yet, but the soils and the stones are the same material. It's sandy clay soil, they're the same color. And so to answer the second requirement on your conceptual review checklist, the second use of the same stone is the veneer on the base of the front porch. If we could go back to the materials board. There. At the base of the front porch, that's the same stone used. And we don't know if that was derived from the site, but it matches the soil color and the curbing boulder colors. The third use of stone that you asked for in the material board is the paving. If we could go back to the materials board color photo. Well, at any rate, okay. Top of that, above it. Well, at any rate, there it is. It's on the front porch there, and it's the sandstone also. So all three stone types and color are matching. Then if you could go on to sheet number 1 of the working drawings, that'll show the location of where there we go. So this same stone matching the front porch, the paving, is at the entrance, and it's in the existing courtyard, and it's also in the existing back porch. And then fourth place is over by the existing guest house. So that should resolve those two issues. And then the only other issue was the guest house is occupying, stop. In the upper left corner, which is the north side is the top and the west side is the left, the top part in the side yard setback, the guest house was built 10 feet into the setback. So according to the advice of our planner, the way to correct that issue, if we could go now to sheet number 10. Keep going. 10. Keep going, please. Oh, there we are.
I think we're there.
Yeah, this is it. In the bottom floor plan, that's the existing floor plan with the existing guest house. In the top upper left is the revised floor plan that shows removal of that portion of the guest house that was in the setback, which is 10 feet. And then the west wall on the left is solid concrete block from floor to roof. And so to the right there where it says existing concrete walk, that's bordered on the north side by also concrete block. The concrete block on the concrete walk is 5 feet 6 inches high, and it's a garden wall that's also legal. So where we've removed the building concrete block walls, which have no openings in them, we are reducing the size of those concrete block walls at the patio to the same height as the concrete block walls, if that makes sense. So then if you go to sheet number 6 for elevations, the accessory structure to remain is shown to the upper left. And now if we could go to sheet number 7. There we go. On the lower left, you can see that where the dotted line is to the far left, at the north property line, the dotted line shows what was removed of the existing solid concrete block wall. And then the darker lines to the right is what would remain as an accessory structure. That then brings the property into full conformity to the zoning standards. The rest of the project that you gave preliminary and final approval on is the additions to the main house, and none of that has changed since the last time you saw it.
Thank you. Are you complete with your presentation?
Yes.
Okay, back to the board for questions. Let's start with Sam.
No questions, Chip.
Thank you. Dave?
I don't have any questions at this point. Thanks, Tip.
Thank you. Don?
No questions.
Claire?
No questions.
John?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, on that guest house, I believe that the guest house currently is not only in the side yard setback, but also in the rear yard setback, as shown on PDF page 2. And I don't see why we would, and it was never permitted. So the question is to Tom, why should we approve that if it's in the setbacks and it's never been permitted before?
We have a secondary feedback letter from Cara, and she has explained that and directed us to do what we have done. And then if you can blow up the floor plan, you can see all of the permit numbers and the reasons why that can remain where it is.
So in general, so was that permitted prior to about was that built prior to about 1920?
No, the main house was built in 1947. The garage with its permit was built in 1962.
Okay.
So what we're showing there, yeah, there we go, accessory structure. And then this is all of the legalese written where it says Montecito Development Code. That shows why an accessory structure that's a storage workshop can be against the rear into the rear yard setback.
But that's limited, Alex, isn't that limited to, is it 160 square feet? 120 square feet.
No, this is
Alex.
Yeah, so accessory structures, if they're below 12 feet in height, there's not a limit on their size so long as they don't occupy more than
1/3.
I want to say 20% of the rear setback.
Very good, thank you. Okay, I remember the provision, thank you.
And it's not used for human habitation, I believe is the language.
And does it also have a restriction on electricity and water?
No, that's a separate thing for if it's something's less than 120 square feet and there's no electricity, then it would be exempt from permit.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
That's a 10 by 12.
Thank you, John. Okay, so I'm going to open public comments on item number 6. 425 Canfield Place. Sharon, do we have anything?
Tip, we don't. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. And back to the board. And this item is here for preliminary, final, and I believe the applicants have all the drawings. So anyway, let's go to comment. John?
May I go last? I want to look at the details, please.
Okay, let's go with Dave.
Yeah, I think the fact that they're making an existing condition better, that I can support it. And everything is pretty consistent with what's going on there. So that would be my comments.
Thank you, Dave. Sam?
Yeah, I like the addition to the residence. I think it's in keeping in the way it steps down and fits kind of the proportions of the scale of the building now. I guess, could you show me just real quickly the elevations of the accessory building and how it's now looking in its final form? Is there a sheet that shows that real quickly just for a quick
Yes,
review?
sheet number 6 and number 7.
So that portion right there is towards the interior of the lot, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then this piece over here, Sam.
And then do you have another view of the other side of it?
Yeah, the north side.
North side is flat wall up against the neighbor, no openings.
Correct.
And then you have a patio on the other side. So I kind of agree. It looks like an outbuilding. It's been there. It's reducing in size, as David mentioned. So I can find favor in this addition. That's it.
Thank you, Sam. Claire?
I don't have any further comments.
Thank you, Claire. Don?
Do we have any communication from the adjacent owner that currently has the building on their property?
Are you talking about the adjacent owner to the west?
Yes.
I have information on it because a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I did the redesign of that house. If we could go to the cover sheet, there's an aerial photo that shows how far away it is, which is more than 250 feet. If we go to there we go. So you can see all along the east, you've lost it now. There we go. All along their east property line, they have a huge hedge that's made of tree-sized pittosporum and myosporum, and also an oak. And I remember from doing the north and south new wings on that house that we could not see anything of any of the 3 properties that are adjacent to it. So the proposed accessory structure is less than the 12 feet maximum height, and I doubt if they'll ever be able to see that building at all.
Okay. Given the improvements being made, I can support the construction proposed.
Thank
you.
Thank you, Don. Bill?
Yeah, I think I definitely am fine with the house, and the remodel there and the addition. That's all good. I think if this was more visible, this little shed, I'd probably have more of a concern about the roof there and kind of how it fits in or doesn't fit in maybe with the existing building that it's next to. But because it's kind of tucked in the back and screened pretty well, and it's a long distance away from the neighbor, I think I could be okay with it. And the fact that it's actually being reduced in scale and scope and the rest of it, I think I could be okay with it as it is. So that being said, I can approve what I see here as it's shown. Now, I don't know, in terms of details, we have a window and a door detail. I guess that's maybe enough, although you're adding roof, so I don't know if you've got any eave and rake. And I don't see your light fixture called out. Do you have that light fixtures, exterior light fixtures anywhere? Looks like you got a
There's an existing pole light shown in the.
Is that what that is there?
The plan, no, it's over. If you could look at the right side of the street elevation, there it is, that pole light.
That, are these existing?
No, that's out in the yard. It's on the very right side of the elevation. The one in the center is by the door, and there's actually a second one on the other side of the chimney, and we were relocating that to the front entrance steps there. So we're just keeping the same exact exterior light.
So you're just relocating the fixtures that are already there?
Yes, and that should give an even light.
Okay, all right.
In front.
Okay, then I guess we're good, and the colors and finishes are to match.
Yes.
It's gonna match the wall paint and the window and door trim, they're all gonna match.
Yes.
Okay, all right. That's good, thank you.
John?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I think that this board would never approve that storage shed in the rear yard setback had it not been built. So in essence, we are rewarding, to use the street term, bad behavior if we approve this. So that's on the one hand. On the other hand, when I go to sheet 1 in the upper left-hand corner, Bill, please, Bill, all the way to the top sheet, the first sheet with the photograph in the upper left-hand corner.
Sheet, yeah, it's all the way, the beginning sheet, the title sheet.
Yeah, and then can you enlarge that a little tiny bit? If we take a good hard look at that, it seems that there are quite a number of structures that are at or near property lines. Number 4, number 1, et cetera. So it's, from a neighborhood compatibility standard, this is an older neighborhood, as we all know. That part of me says it's probably okay, but that case was not made to us, and so I'm making it for the applicant now. And I think for that reason and that reason only, that there's neighborhood compatibility that shows these existing structures in that place, I'm going to be able to support it. So, but I do want to say that it is a little light on finished details, light fixtures, and things like that. So it may be appropriate just to give it preliminary and let them come back and really get the final drawings correct.
So would you like to make the motion, John?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But thank you for offering.
Welcome. So let's move on to Bill. Would you like to make the motion?
I'll make a motion.
Oh, please, Claire.
Yeah, I'll make a motion for preliminary approval with the applicant to return with the needed details, lighting fixtures, and whatever else we would like him to come back for with final on consent.
Anyone second?
I'll second
that.
Oh.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And Tim, can I just, yeah, go ahead.
Opposed?
Who made that second?
Motion carry. What is it, Sharon?
I'm sorry, who made the second?
Sharp.
Thank you.
Motion carry.
And
Thank
then-
you.
I just want to make a comment, kind of just following up on what John Watson is talking about. This is a very eclectic neighborhood. Everything that exists on Camper is all weird. These houses were built for worker houses by the owner of Lot 1, and there used to be a big nursery there. And a lot of the workers that lived and worked there. And that's why it's kind of occurring to John as being, because that's what it was. It was all workers, and there were sheds, and there were, nowadays we wouldn't accept that. But historically, it's always been like this. And I happen to have worked in that nursery back in I think it was about 1964. And it was much worse then than it is now as far as multiple buildings. It was just a mess. That neighborhood has gotten very much more gentrified than it ever was back historically. So I just wanted to put that in.
Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing with us.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Claire. Let's move on to the last item on the agenda, item number 8. And that's 1620 East Mountain Drive. Is the applicant online?
Yes, this is Laurel Perez from Suzanne Elledge Planning and Permitting Services. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you just fine. And will you be the one making the presentation?
I'll be presenting the introduction, and presenting today will be our architectural designer, Johnny Hirsch, and landscape designer, Lisa Dieter.
I am. Okay, thank you. And this is on the agenda for further conceptual and preliminary approval of 447 square feet net for 87 square feet gross addition to the existing single-family dwelling, bringing the residence from 3,751 to 4,198 square feet and an interior remodel. The project also includes a new pool cabana of 800 square feet and new pool, terrace garden, hardscape, and the renovation of existing landscaping. And we last heard this project almost a year ago on June 13, 19. And we had several comments. And number one, pool cabana closer to your house and outside setback. MBAR cannot support setback modification for cabana. Number two, consider tucking cabana partially below grade to create deck area between house and pool. And number three, MBAR can support modification from small addition to residence. So would you like to do your presentation, and you can limit to 5 minutes to be good.
Okay, great. And just a reminder, at the last meeting, you also conducted a story pole site visit. And following that, the comments that you just recited were provided. Since that time, the team has been working with the owners to revise the plans in order to address MBAR's comments, and has moved the pool and the cabana nearly 40 feet closer to the main residence, and located these structures so that they conform to the setbacks. We've submitted revised plans, including a revised arborist report prepared by Duke McPherson, and believe that you have all plan details necessary to grant preliminary approval today if you support the revised project. With that, I'll turn the presentation over to Johnny Hirsch, who will start with the site plan sheet A1.0. Thank you.
Hello all, good to see you.
Thank you.
So as Laurel said, I believe what we're addressing today is the concerns of the location of the proposed cabana and pool within the front yard setback. Just to go over, the main house addition does land within that setback, but no further than the existing house did. And previously the board had no comments and no reservations about that encroachment. So if we can talk about the main house. Previously, there were design comments only referring to the ability to match the existing curved window, but we've addressed that, and our general contractor, Rick Heinberg, kind of assuaged those concerns. The main house, which you're on right now, the darkened pochade walls are the of the exterior are the addition. As you can see, it does align with the existing house to the east there, and does not fall past the line of that existing house. And the front of the house, where that guest suite number 1 is labeled, is pulled out to the line of the adjacent dining room, mimicking that curvature, curved window, floor to ceiling window. That's the one I was referring to that you had previous comments on. Roofing, the roof plan, which was the next step to OCU, that we are just, we're actually simplifying the roof from the existing. The existing roof plan is not in this set, unfortunately, but we've greatly simplified it with the flat area on the top, and we're retaining, we're matching the existing slate roof, so no change to materials. In fact, we're doing a very kind of prudent job of matching all the materials and style of that main house. We should, I think we can move to the plan of the cabana. As you can see from previous versions, we actually have reduced the footprint of the house to meet the 800 square foot max floor area, as measured from inside of exterior walls to inside of exterior walls. On the site plan, I'm sorry to toggle all the way back, but as Laurel said, we did, per the comments, we moved that whole design element, the new design, cabana, pool deck, and pool, approximately 40 feet up the site to get out of that front yard setback. I think it's worth noting that all the adjacent properties known as San Ysidro Ranch, a lot of those structures lie within that 50-foot setback, but that shouldn't apply anymore because we have moved everything up by reducing the amount of terracing and moving it closer to the house. There were previous design comments going back to the first conceptual for the cabana, which had to do with the materials of the sidewalls, feeling that there was too much of the veneered stacked stone, and subsequently and it was suggested that we more match the existing house, which we have done by introducing the whitewashed brick sides for the majority of the materials for both sides. We still do have the accent veneered wall that runs through the new structure and kind of pops its head out of the top of the roof, shrouded in skylights around that construct. I think now I would like to hand it over, since the majority of this project has to do with the site work. I'd like to hand it over to Lisa. Is Lisa on?
Here I am. Are we unmuted? Hi. Okay. Am I on?
Yes, you're on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hello. Okay, so we're gonna go with Jen. I want to get this one first. Okay. Oh, can we go? Do we want to go? I think the rendering first.
Okay.
Yes. So we have 2 renderings for you. We have, this is the plan view that shows the tree canopy. Just kind of indicates all the trees that are being preserved on the property. The smaller canopies closer to the landscaped terrace areas indicate trees that we're adding. So you can see by the large canopies that we're, very busy on the preservation aspect of the existing trees. If you go to the rendering without the canopies, we can take there you go. We can take a closer look at how we've kind of organized ourselves. We're keeping the garden, for the most part, we've really leaned into a low water kind of native feel, not really Mediterranean. We really wanted to give it more of a California native sense. And we have, you come down the stairs from the main terrace, and we're greeted first, we have a traditional lawn. They have grandchildren, so we gave them a little 11 by 31 old-fashioned lawn to play on. You come down the next set of stairs into a seating area. As you walk straight down, we have a fig tree there with a little underplanting, and on the left we have a line of citrus trees that they can harvest from the terrace side. And so the majority of this terrace is a viewing deck. So it looks over the rest of the property and out to the shore, the distant trees and the shore. We have a fire pit. It's just kind of a congenial seating area. And then we go down a set of stairs, and that takes us into our second terrace. So this plan versus the last plan, by pushing the cabana and pool upward, we've eliminated a middle terrace. So we come to this second terrace and we have a meadow lawn. So that will be a low water lawn that the clients at their discretion can either mow or let go native, and it can just be a beautiful explosion of spring and summer and even into fall, depending on our meadow mix, wildflowers with a bench. So it's another version of an outlook. This one is just much more relaxed and a little bit more natural. To the left, you can move, or the screen left, there's a set of stepping stones that can take you off to the side, and you can walk through the existing oak grove and meander down to the pool garden. Or you can take a set of stairs. And once you get to the pool garden, we have pushed out a little bit to the right with a little table and chair and a little mulchy pad underneath the oak grove. And over to the right, we've created a bit, based on the grade and the root, the trunks of the trees, we have a little bit of a boulder wall that's giving us a flat space so that we can have a seating area adjacent to the pool with a little background planting set in gravel. And as you move farther down into that really kind of takes us within the scope. The lower part of the property is kind of retaining its natural oak flavor. We have 2 mitigation oaks that are to the back and to the far right. 2 large oaks that we worked through with Duke McPherson, who was great with all the information he gave us, and we landed upon 2 nice sized oaks to nestle into this kind of existing oak background.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you complete with your presentation?
I'm sorry?
Are you complete?
I'm
Have you done?
complete.
Thank you. Back to the board for questions. Let's start with Sam.
Yeah, can you explain your existing hedge on the east side? Is that all in place and
Correct.
very, very dense? This garden really can't be seen from that eastern side, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then one other question. Your little gate that accesses what looks like a service, is that set back far enough that it's not going to be a piece of architecture that will be seen as well?
No. That will be set back, and it's really more for just a maintenance gate, so that a maintenance path to be able to get back and clean up, get it wet in the event of fire. It's really a tiny service
You can't see
Little-
that from outside. Okay.
Correct.
No other questions?
Thank you, Sam. Claire,
No other questions?
thank you. Don,
No questions.
Bill,
Yeah, just a quick question. So this trunk here, is that an oak or is that a yew or what is that right there?
That's a California pepper tree.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if this retaining was going to interfere with the root.
No, it's pretty safe. You can see it in the picture number 6, the big canopy of the pepper. And this is a dry stack wall, by the way. So we're not digging into the ground, and there's really a lot more space there than is evident in that picture.
Got it. Okay, as long as it's not impacting it. Yeah.
Right,
that's all.
correct.
That's all. Oh, one quick question on the materials there of the building. So this is white painted brick, and this is like you're gonna suspend kind of a metal pipe or frame or something up to support the roof that's sort of floating on top. Is that kind of what you're doing there?
That's exactly correct, with clear stories around to get that roof plane to float above the walls.
And is there an overhang on the roof then?
There used to be.
Okay.
But since that kicked in calculations for floor area, that's been taken off, and it more closely mimics the house, the main house at this point.
So the main house has a overhang though, right?
It has overhangs,
Yeah.
but the form of the roofs.
Just tight fascia there or something is what you're getting at maybe, huh?
Okay.
All right, that's all.
thank you. Thank you, Bill. John,
Yes, this actually goes to where Bill was just heading. Alex, would you please remind me, when we were doing the detached accessory structure ordinance revision, we were counting the area of the roof, the covered roof, isn't that correct?
Yeah, yes. But there was an allowance for up to 3 feet worth of roof eave that would not get counted. If you go beyond 3 feet of roof eave, then it would get pulled into the 800 square foot calculation.
So this structure, Johnny, you were making a comment about it. You had to delete some of the roof because of this new calculation that's now in effect. Is that what you were saying?
Correct.
Okay, so you now under roof area, you have 800 square feet or less.
As measured from the interior of exterior walls, correct. If you go to that plan right there, there's a diagram to the upper right corner.
I don't see the diagram. Yeah, oh, okay.
So that's the calculation, how the calculation was made.
Right. So as long as those darker shaded gray areas that aren't within the outline, as long as those are less than 3 feet or less, then they would not get counted.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have.
thank you. Dave,
Could you show us what oak trees are being removed?
Removing any oak trees, we had 2 trees, oak number 3 and oak number 8, that they were close enough to the root zone that as a careful measure, Duke decided that he would like us to bring in 2 more oak trees to err on the side of safety with these 2 oak trees, but they're not coming out. And we fully intend for them to be fine, but he wanted to ensure that the oak count remained the same, if not increased.
Can you show us which trees are those 2 trees?
They're number 3 and 8. Laurel, do we have Duke's?
It was part of our package.
Yeah, we saw it here on screen.
Yeah, here's number 8, and here is number 3. So yeah, there's 3. Yeah,
So
8 and 3.
So normally when we have greater than 20% encroachment into the root zone, we require, we treat it as requiring mitigation, which looks like you do for at least for number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Normal, and Laurel knows this, normally we would look for more than just a 1-to-1 replacement ratio in those situations.
Right, and so this is Laurel. So Lisa's been working with Duke and proposed much larger size oak trees than you typically see for the mitigation ratio, and Duke was okay with that. So he's in support of the plan that you're reviewing right now. If P&D decides that they'd like to see even more oak trees out there, there's ample space to plant additional trees on the property, particularly down in that lower sort of triangle portion south of the cabana.
Well, I think if you're proposing 36-inch or larger box,
right,
then I think it is probably 1-to-1. I think that's probably what Duke is referring to. But Alex, can you check that?
Yeah, so normally if it's 36-inch box, we would look at as a 2-to-1. 1-to-1 would be more like a 48-inch box.
Okay, so there's your rule. Are you proposing large oaks as your mitigation?
Yes,
that's correct.
One 72-inch box and one 84-inch box. So very, quite sizable.
So that's the 1-to-1.
That's a 1-to-1 ratio then.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave. Okay, so can we open public comment on item number 8, 1620 East Mountain Drive? Sharon, do we have anything?
No, we don't.
Good. I'm to close public comment and back to the board.
Wait, I do have, Mr. Fernandez?
Yes.
Are you just here to observe? Or are you with one of the projects, or would you like to comment?
No, I'm just here to observe.
Thank you.
Thanks.
There were some earlier letters from 2019. I don't know if those apply.
Oh, that's been a year old.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, so back to the board, and this item is here for further conceptual and preliminary approval, if we think this is approval. So let's start with Dave.
Yeah, I think the project, I didn't see it the first time around, but just from what I can gather and the way you've relocated the pool and the cabana to work with the setbacks and the way you're mitigating for the potential impact to the oak trees, I think it's a good project and I can support it.
Thank you, Dave. Claire?
Yeah, I appreciate the work that the team has done and the amount of changes that you've made, moving everything up, which is, in my opinion, where it needed to be anyway. I remember going on the site visit going, why would we do everything? And I think that the landscape architect has done a great job of working with a very narrow site, where the house isn't narrow, but here, and actually fitting all the needs of the applicant or the owner into her design, and so I actually could approve this project at this point.
Thank you, Claire. Bill?
Yeah, I think the addition of the house looks good. I like the landscape. I think that's looking really good. I appreciate you moving the structure up on the property a little closer to the house and out of the setback. I would like to see, I know you'll be coming back at some point, how you're going to detail these things, and if you can try to tie it in to the main house, that would be preferable, as best you can. I certainly see elements, I think, that tie in, which is great. I'm not sure how that roof is going to kind of come together, but I'll let you, come up with a detail that will make that work. Generally speaking, though, I think the massing is fine and it all looks good, so I could support it with respect to seeing what the details look like once you're done with that. That's all.
Thank you, Bill. Don?
Yes, I agree with Bill that the detailing is very important. And I have a lot of questions about how this all comes together. Other than that, I agree with Claire and the others' comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Sam?
Yeah, no additional comments. I think it's all been covered. Thank you, Tip.
Thank you. John?
Yes, it's all been covered, but I do want to echo Don and Bill's comments about detailing. Absolutely critical, but I could vote for this project as it's submitted.
Thank you. So it seems that we are ready to grant this preliminary approval.
I'll make a motion for preliminary approval.
Any
I will
comments?
second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
I voted for it.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, so this is it for today's meeting, and I believe we don't have a meeting at the end of May.
So that was canceled according to my.
Correct.
And so we'll regroup on June 11.
Correct.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion
Move to
to
adjourn.
adjourn.
Yep.
And I love these meetings. I love doing this format. It is so cool. I just love being home and just and the thing is it seems to me the meetings, because everybody's being on their best behavior, are getting shorter. And people are more directed in their comments and more direct. The applicants are doing a better job, and the chair is doing a better managing the time, and they're fabulous. I love it.
Thank you, Claire.
Well done, Chair and Vice Chair.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill, for your hard work.
Awesome.
Bill and Sharon.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, of course, Sharon, always Sharon.
Thank you all.
bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
See
Everybody.
you all.
See you soon.
Thanks.